Marcus Chen wiped the grease from his hands and stared at the sensor screen. Something was wrong. The display showed numbers that made no sense. He tapped the glass with his knuckle, thinking maybe the machine was broken again. Everything on the rusted promise was old and broken. That was why they needed a mechanic like him. "You seeing this?" He called out to the bridge. Captain Riviera's voice crackled through the speaker. "Seeing what, Marcus?" "I've got nothing but empty space on my screens." Marcus frowned. The signal was still there. It pulsed like a heartbeat, slow and weak. But it was not coming from any machine, he knew. It felt different. Strange. Almost like it was alive. "There's something out there," Marcus said. "Near the asteroid field by the red star." "That's just sensor noise," the captain replied. "We're in the frontier reaches. Nothing lives out here. Nothing has lived here for thousands of years." But Marcus could not stop looking at the signal. It pulled at something deep inside his mind. He had worked with machines his whole life. He knew how they talked, how they hummed and beeped and told you what was wrong. This was not a machine talking. This was something else. Something old and tired and desperate. He saved the data to his personal drive and tried to ignore it. For 3 hours he worked on the ship's water recycler, replacing tubes and cleaning filters. But the signal stayed in his head like a song he could not forget. Finally, he climbed up to the bridge. Captain Riviera sat in her chair drinking coffee from a metal cup. She was a short woman with gray hair and tired eyes. She had been flying salvage ships for 30 years. She looked up when Marcus entered. "Let me guess," she said. "You want to check out your mystery signal?" "Yes," Marcus said simply. The captain sighed. "Marcus, we have a schedule. The company wants us to reach the Morrison wreck by next week. We don't have time to chase ghosts." "It will take 4 hours," Marcus said. "Just a quick look. If there's nothing there, I will fix the coffee maker for free." The captain laughed. "You were going to fix that anyway." But she looked at his face and saw he was serious. "Fine, 4 hours. But if we find nothing, you owe me 2 weeks of coffee maker maintenance." The rusted promise changed course. The ship groaned and rattled as the engines pushed them toward the red giant star. Marcus watched through the window as they approached the asteroid field. Rocks the size of cities drifted in the darkness. Some of them glowed with heat from the dying star. "I'm getting something," said Chen, the navigator. He was a young man from Mars who still got excited about space. "It's big. Really big. About the size of a space station." "A station out here?" The captain leaned forward. "Show me." The main screen lit up. At first, Marcus thought he was looking at an asteroid. Then the image cleared and he saw it was not rock. It was alive. The creature was enormous, bigger than any animal he had ever heard of. Its body stretched for miles, covered in scales that looked like crystal. Great wings hung limp in space, torn and burned. Dark liquid leaked from wounds along its side. "What in the stars is that?" whispered Chen. Captain Riviera was already typing on her computer. "Computer identify creature." The ship's old computer thought for a moment. Then words appeared on the screen. "Species Vir Alth. Status extinct. Last confirmed sighting. 10,000 years ago." "Extinct things don't float in space bleeding," Marcus said quietly. "The database says they were used as weapons in the old wars," the captain read. "Biological ships with telepathic abilities. Extremely dangerous. All specimens were supposedly destroyed in the Treaty of Ashes." Marcus stared at the creature. The dragon. That was what it looked like to him. A dragon from the old Earth stories his grandmother told him. But this dragon was dying. He could see it in the way it drifted, in the dim light of its eyes. Eyes the size of buildings, like looking into nebulas. "We need to leave," said Chen. "If that thing wakes up, it's already awake." Marcus interrupted. "It's the one who called us here." The others looked at him like he was crazy. "I can feel it," Marcus said. "In my head. It's asking for help." "Telepathy," the captain said. "The database mentioned that." "Marcus, we can't help something like this. We don't have the tools or the knowledge. We're a salvage crew, not a medical ship." More ships appeared on their sensors. A Kresh science vessel, long and elegant like a silver fish. 2 Talon collective warships bristling with weapons. A trade ship from the Merchant Guild. They all kept their distance, forming a wide circle around the dying dragon. "Why aren't they helping?" Marcus asked. "Because they're afraid," Captain Riviera said. "Or smart. Probably both." A transmission came through from the Kresh ship. A tall alien with purple skin appeared on the screen. Their face was smooth and expressionless. Human vessel, you are advised to withdraw. The Viralth are classified as catastrophic threat level. If it dies, the explosion could destroy everything within 10,000 kilometers. What if it doesn't die? Marcus asked. The Kresh tilted their head. Irrelevant. No one has the capability to treat Viralth injuries. The technology is lost. It has been dying for 2 centuries. Death is inevitable. 2 centuries. Marcus felt sick. It's been suffering for 200 years? Affirmative. Now please withdraw to safe distance. The transmission ended. Marcus looked at the captain. We have to do something. Like what? She spread her hands. We repair water pumps and fix hull leaks. That thing out there is beyond anything we understand. Someone has to try. Why us? The captain asked, but her voice was softer now. Why does it have to be us? Marcus thought about growing up in Detroit in the reconstruction zones. After the collapse, everything was broken. The old machines, the buildings, the roads. People said it was impossible to fix, that they should just abandon the city and start somewhere new. But his father had not listened. His father said that if something was broken, you tried to fix it. You did not give up just because it was hard. Because no one else will, Marcus said. He stood up and headed for the door. I'm going to get my tools. Marcus, wait, the captain called after him, but he was already moving down the corridor toward the equipment room. He pulled on his EVA suit, the old one with the patch on the left arm. He filled his tool bag with wrenches, plasma cutters, diagnostic scanners, and cable. He had no idea if any of it would help, but he had to try. When he came back to the bridge, the captain was waiting. She looked angry and worried and maybe a little proud. 4 hours, she said. If you're not back in 4 hours, I'm coming after you. Yes, Captain. And Marcus? She met his eyes. Don't die out there. I still need that coffee maker fixed. He smiled. Then he stepped into the airlock. The outer door opened and space swallowed him. He activated his suit thrusters and flew toward the dragon, toward the impossible, toward the creature that everyone else had abandoned. Behind him, the other ships watched and waited. None of them moved to help. None of them moved to stop him either. The human mechanic was alone as he crossed the darkness between ships and dragon, between fear and hope, between giving up and trying anyway. The dragon's great eye turned toward him. Even dying, even after 200 years of pain, there was something beautiful in that gaze. Something ancient and wise and desperately grateful. Marcus Chen tightened his grip on his tool bag and kept flying forward. Marcus floated closer to the dragon's massive body. Up close, it was even more incredible. The scales were like nothing he had ever seen. They looked like crystal but moved like living tissue. Some were dark and cracked, leaking that strange glowing liquid. Others still shimmered with inner light, showing colors that seemed to shift and change. The wounds were terrible. 5 dark objects were buried deep in the dragon's side. They looked like spears made of black metal, but they pulsed with an ugly red light. Around each wound, the beautiful scales had turned gray and dead. The corruption was spreading slowly, like rust on iron. As Marcus got closer, something touched his mind. It was not words exactly, more like feelings and images. He saw stars being born. He saw cities of light that no longer existed. He saw the dragon flying through space, young and strong and full of purpose. Then he saw war, fire and death and screaming across 1,000 worlds. He saw the dragon falling, wounded, alone. The presence in his mind felt old, so old that Marcus could not imagine it. Tired, sad, but also curious about this small creature that had come to help. Hello? Marcus said out loud, though he knew the dragon could not hear him through the vacuum of space. My name is Marcus Chen. I'm a mechanic. I'm here to help if I can. Images flooded his mind again. This time he understood them as words, though they came slow and painful, like someone speaking a language they had almost forgotten. Torvesh Kalvrin, last chronicler, last of my kind. You should not have come, small one. Why not? Marcus asked in his mind, hoping the dragon could hear his thoughts like he heard the dragon's. I am dangerous, weapon, monster. Your people's stories, remember. Marcus shook his head, even though he was not sure the dragon could see such a small gesture. You don't feel like a monster to me. You feel like someone who needs help. There was a long pause. Then others came, promised help, took what they wanted, left me to die. Why should you be different? I guess you will have to trust me, Marcus said. Or don't, but I'm still going to try. He jetted closer to the first wound. The black spear was as big as a truck, buried deep into the dragon's body, Up close, he could see it was covered in tiny symbols that hurt to look at. The red light pulsed faster as he approached, like it knew he was there. Marcus pulled out his scanner and ran it over the wound. The readings made no sense. The object was not just metal. It was part machine, part something organic. And it was alive. Worse, it was connected to the dragon's body, growing into it like a parasitic plant. "What are these things?" he asked. The dragon's response came with waves of pain and old fear. "Corruptors. Made to turn Viralth into bombs, into weapons against our will. When we die, we take everything with us, planets, stars, all gone." Marcus felt cold despite his suit's heating. "How long until that happens?" "Days, maybe less. I have fought them for so long, 200 of your years. But I am tired, small one. So tired. My name is Marcus," he said firmly. "And you are Torvesh. We are going to be friends, and friends use names." The presence in his mind felt confused. Then something that might have been the dragon version of a laugh. "Strange little creature. So small, so fragile, yet so stubborn," Marcus smiled. "You have no idea." He spent the next hour examining all 5 wounds. Each corruptor was buried in a different part of the dragon's body. They were connected to each other by threads of corruption running through Torvash's flesh. Like a net holding the dragon prisoner. The more Marcus looked, the more he understood this was not just a weapon. It was torture. Designed to make death slow and agonizing. "Who did this to you?" he asked. The dragon showed him images of ships. Many different species working together. Some he recognized from galactic news. Others he had never seen before. Those who fear knowledge. Those who profit from forgetting. "I am chronicler. I hold memories. Stories of dead civilizations. Truth about the old wars. They want truth buried." Marcus felt anger burning in his chest. "That's why no one is helping you. They want you to die." "Yes." He pulled back and looked at the whole dragon, at the massive body drifting in space, covered in wounds and slowly dying. Any normal person would say it was impossible to fix. There was too much damage. The technology was too advanced. It was beyond human understanding. But Marcus had heard impossible before. When he was 12, he had fixed a water purifier that 3 engineers said could not be repaired. He had looked at it differently, saw what they did not, and made it work. His father always said, "If you think it cannot be fixed, you are not looking at it the right way." "Okay," Marcus said out loud. "Let me think." More ships arrived. The circle around them grew. Marcus could see them on his suit's small display. 20 ships now. 30. They were waiting like vultures, hoping to grab whatever they could when Torvesh died. He felt disgusted. A transmission came through to his suit. It was Captain Riviera. "Marcus, what are you seeing out there?" "Something bad," he replied. "These weapons in the dragon's body. They are designed to make the dragon explode when it dies. But I think I can remove them." "Marcus, be careful. The Kresh just sent us more data. Those corruptors are old war technology. Nobody understands how they work anymore." "That's good," Marcus said. "How is that good?" The captain sounded confused. "Because if nobody understands them, then nobody knows what's impossible," Marcus explained. "I can try things without knowing I am not supposed to." He could hear the captain sigh over the radio. "That is the most Marcus logic I have ever heard." "Okay, what do you need?" "Time, tools, and maybe some of that soup Chen makes. I'm going to be out here a while." The captain was quiet for a moment. "You really think you can save it?" Marcus looked at the dragon's eye. Even in pain, even dying, there was intelligence there. Kindness. Hope that was almost gone, but not quite. "I have to try," he said. Over the next hours, Marcus worked. He started with the smallest corruptor, the one in Torvash's lower wing. He used his plasma cutter carefully, burning away the corrupted tissue around the weapon. The dragon's pain filled his mind, but Torvash stayed still and quiet, trying not to make Marcus's job harder. "Talk to me," Marcus said as he worked. "Tell me about the good times. Before all this." Slowly the dragon began to share memories. Marcus saw worlds he could not imagine, cities built of light and music, the Viralth flying in groups playing in the corona of stars. They were not weapons. They were teachers, storytellers, keepers of memory. Each dragon held the complete history of dozens of civilizations. When a species died, their stories lived on in the Viralth. "We were libraries," Torvesh explained. "Living libraries. We remembered so no one would be forgotten." "That's beautiful," Marcus said. He had isolated the first corruptor now. The hard part would be pulling it out without triggering it. What happened? Why did it all go wrong? Fear, the dragon said simply. Some species did not want their true histories known. They had lied to their people. When we would not help them hide truth, they called us dangerous, said we were weapons, started a war to destroy us, Marcus understood, and nobody questioned it. Some did. Not enough. By the time truth was known, most of my kind were dead. But you survived. I ran, hid, kept running for 10,000 years. The assassins never stopped hunting. Finally, they caught me, gave me these wounds, left me to die slowly where no one would help. Marcus cut through the last connection, holding the corruptor in place. Very carefully he pulled. The black spear came free with a surge of pain that made Torvesh cry out in Marcus's mind, but it was out. Marcus threw it far into space, away from both of them, one down. 4 to go. You are crying, Torvesh said, confused. Marcus touched his face and found tears floating in his helmet. Sorry, he said. I'm just angry. Angry that people did this to you. Angry that everyone else is just watching. You are strange, Marcus Chen. Your species is barely known in the galaxy. You have no great weapons or advanced technology. Why do you care about an old dragon? Marcus started working on the second corruptor. Because you asked for help. And because where I come from, we have a saying, if you can help, you should help. Simple as that. The dragon was quiet in his mind for a long moment. Then tell me about your world. Help me think of something besides pain. So Marcus did. As he worked, he told stories about Earth, about the oceans and mountains, about his grandmother who told him dragon stories when he was small, about learning to fix things with his father in the ruins of old Detroit, about the coffee maker on the rusted Promise that never worked quite right, but he kept fixing anyway because Captain Riviera liked her coffee hot. And slowly, painfully, carefully he removed the second corruptor, then started on the third. Above them, the watching ships grew restless. They had not expected the human to last this long, had not expected him to make progress. Some began to send messages to each other. Others turned their weapon systems on, not pointed at Marcus or Torvesh yet, but ready. Something was changing, and change made everyone nervous. Marcus had been working for 18 hours straight. His arms ached. His eyes burned. The oxygen readout on his suit was getting lower than he liked. But he had removed 3 of the 5 corruptors. Progress, real progress. The problem was that the last 2 were different. They were buried deeper, wrapped around what he thought might be Torvesh's heart. Or hearts. The dragon seemed to have multiple organs pumping that glowing blood through impossible biology. The corruption from these 2 weapons had spread further, turning more of the beautiful scales gray and lifeless. You need to rest, Torvesh said in his mind. The dragon's voice was stronger now. Removing the first 3 weapons had helped. The pain was less. Return to your ship, eat, sleep. Not yet, Marcus said stubbornly. I want to understand these last 2 before I take a break. There is something different about them. He ran his scanner over the wounds again, comparing the data to what he had gathered from the first 3. The readings were similar but not the same. These corruptors were more advanced, more deeply integrated with Torvesh's biology. They learn, the dragon explained. Each weapon studies the host, adapts. These have had 200 years to learn me. They know how to hurt most, how to keep me alive but suffering. Marcus felt that anger again, burning hot in his chest. Whoever designed these weapons had not just wanted to kill. They wanted to torture, to make an example. It was cruelty for the sake of cruelty. I'm going to remove them, he said, but I need to think. There has to be a way. A transmission cut through his thoughts. Captain Riviera again. Marcus, you need to come back. Your oxygen is at 30%. That is not safe. I know, Captain. Just a little longer. Marcus. Her voice was firm now, using the tone that meant she was pulling rank. That is an order. Get back to this ship in the next 15 minutes or I am sending Chen out to drag you back. Marcus looked at the wounds, at the corrupted tissue spreading like a disease through Torvesh's body. They did not have much time. The dragon was dying slower now, yes, but still dying. Fine, he said. 15 minutes. He jetted back toward the rusted Promise, his mind still working on the problem. There had to be a solution. Something he was not seeing. Some angle he had not considered yet. The airlock cycled and he stumbled into the ship. Chen was waiting with a protein bar and a bottle of water. Marcus drank the whole bottle in 4 gulps. You look terrible, Chen said. Thanks, Marcus muttered. No, seriously. Have you looked in a mirror? You have dark circles under your eyes, your hands are shaking, and I think that is dried blood on your glove. Marcus looked down. There was blood, his own. He had torn his fingernail on a sharp piece of metal and had not even noticed. I'm fine. You are not fine. You are exhausted. Chen grabbed his arm. Come on, Captain's orders. You eat. You sleep for at least 4 hours, then you can go back to your space dragon. They led him to the small crew quarters. Someone had left fresh clothes on his bunk and a hot meal on the small table. Real food, not just the protein bars they usually ate. Chen must have used the good supplies. Captain says the galaxy is watching, Chen explained as Marcus ate. Our transmission is being picked up by dozens of ships. Some of them are streaming it further. People want to know if you can really save the dragon. No pressure then, Marcus said around a mouthful of rice. The creche sent another message. They are offering to buy the dragon's body after it dies. They want the memories it carries. Apparently there is a lot of valuable information about lost technology in there. Marcus stopped eating. They want to buy Torvaish? Like salvage? They are offering a lot of money, Marcus. Enough to buy a new ship. Enough that we would never have to work salvage again. What did the captain say? Chen smiled. She told them that Torvaish was not for sale because Torvaish is not dead. Then she told them where they could put their money. I had to mute our transmission because I was laughing too hard. Despite his exhaustion, Marcus grinned. That sounds like the captain. The Talon Collective also sent a message. They want us to leave. They say you are interfering with galactic security protocols, that the Viralth are classified as weapons and must be destroyed. But Torvaish is not a weapon. Try telling them that. They have locked weapons on both you and the dragon. If you make any sudden moves, they will fire. Marcus felt cold. They would kill us? They say they are protecting the sector, that if the dragon explodes, millions could die. Chen sat down across from him. Marcus, maybe they are right. Maybe this is too dangerous. Maybe we should let nature take its course. Nature did not do this, Marcus said quietly. People did. People hurt Torvaish. People abandoned him to die alone in space. If we walk away now, we are no better than them. Chen was quiet for a long moment. You really care about it, don't you? The dragon. His name is Torvaish, Marcus corrected. And yes, I do. After Chen left, Marcus lay on his bunk and closed his eyes, but sleep would not come. His mind kept turning over the problem of the last two corruptors. They were too deep, too integrated. If he tried to remove them the same way he had removed the others, he might kill Torvaish in the process. He needed a different approach. Something radical. Something no one had tried before. An idea started to form. It was crazy, dangerous, probably impossible, but it might work. He sat up and pulled out his data pad, running calculations, checking his theory against the information he had gathered. After an hour, he went to find Captain Riviera. She was on the bridge drinking coffee and staring at the sensor displays. The circle of watching ships had grown even larger, 50 vessels now from a dozen different species, all waiting to see what would happen. Captain, Marcus said, I have an idea, but you are going to think I am insane. She turned to look at him. More insane than spending a day trying to save an extinct space dragon that might explode at any moment. Yes, she sighed. Tell me. Marcus explained his plan. The captain's eyes got wider as he talked. When he finished, she just stared at him. You want to kill it, she said slowly. Only for a little while, Marcus said. 73 seconds to be exact. Marcus, that is the most ridiculous thing I have ever heard. You cannot just turn off a living creature and turn it back on like a machine. Why not? Everything is a machine if you look at it the right way. Heart, lungs, brain. They are all just biological machines. I have studied the scans. Torvaish's body is part organic, part mechanical. Old nanotechnology woven into the biology. If I can shut down the biological systems temporarily, I can manually restart the mechanical ones. And when the mechanical systems come back online, they will reboot the biological systems. And if you are wrong, if it does not restart, then Torvaish dies, Marcus said simply. But Captain, Torvaish is already dying. We have maybe 2 days left. If I do nothing, the result is the same. At least this gives us a chance. Captain Riviera rubbed her face with both hands. You are asking me to let you kill our new friend. I am asking you to let me try to save him. She looked out at the dragon floating in space, at the wounds that glowed with evil red light, at the corruption spreading through that beautiful body. What do you need from me? Power, Marcus said. A lot of power. I need to create a pulse that will shut down Torvash's nervous system. Then I need enough juice to jumpstart the mechanical systems. The ship's reactor should be enough. Should be? Probably. You are going to give me a heart attack, the captain muttered. But she was already calling up engineering diagrams on her screen. Chen, get down here. We need to rig a power transfer to Marcus's equipment. Over the next hours, they worked together. Marcus explained what he needed. Chen and the captain figured out how to provide it. They connected cables from the ship's main reactor to a portable power pack. They tested it 3 times to make sure it would not explode or shut down the rusted Promise's life support. While they worked, Marcus reached out with his mind to Torvash. The dragon was resting, conserving strength. I have a plan, Marcus told him. But you need to trust me. Really trust me. Tell me, Torvash said, Marcus explained. The dragon was silent for a long time after he finished. Finally, you want to stop my heart? Yes. And you believe you can restart it? Yes, why? Why risk so much for me? Marcus thought about his answer carefully. Because you deserve to live, Torvash. Because you have suffered enough. Because everyone else has given up on you and I refuse to do that. Because when I was a kid, my father taught me that you never abandon something just because fixing it is hard. Your father was wise. He was a stubborn mechanic from Detroit, Marcus said with a smile. Same thing. If this fails, I want you to know something, Marcus Chen. In my 10,000 years of life, no one has shown me the kindness you have. No one has tried so hard to save me. If I die knowing that at least one person in this galaxy cared. You are not going to die, Marcus said firmly. I am going to fix you. That is what I do. I fix things. He gathered his equipment and prepared to return to space. The captain stopped him at the airlock. Marcus, she said, if something goes wrong out there, if the dragon does explode, you have maybe 3 seconds to get clear. Promise me you will try. I promise, he said. He did not mention that 3 seconds would not be nearly enough. If Torvash exploded, Marcus would die too, but there was no point worrying the captain about that. He stepped into the airlock and launched back toward the dragon. Behind him, the silence was terrifying. No heartbeat, no breath. No presence in Marcus's mind. Torvash was truly dead and Marcus had killed him. The timer showed 68 seconds remaining. Marcus forced himself to move. There was no time for doubt. He jetted to the access point he had created in the dragon's side, where the mechanical systems were closest to the surface. The nanotechnology woven through Torvash's body glowed faintly, like circuits waiting for power. 62 seconds. He connected the power cables to the neural interface points he had mapped earlier. His hands were shaking. He had practiced this 100 times in his mind, but reality was different. Reality was a dead dragon and a clock counting down to permanent death. 55 seconds. The 2 remaining corruptors suddenly blazed with light. They were reacting to Torvash's death, preparing to complete their purpose, to turn the dragon's body into a bomb. Marcus could see the corruption spreading faster now, racing through the dead tissue. He had not counted on that. The weapons were activating early. 47 seconds, Captain, Marcus shouted into his radio. I need full power right now. Marcus, if we give you full power, we will lose life support for 2 minutes. Do it. The cables hummed with energy. Marcus pressed the cardiac restart system against the dragon's mechanical heart structure. The device was simple, crude, built from parts meant to jumpstart ship engines, not restart alien biology. But it was all he had. 39 seconds, he triggered the pulse. Electricity surged through the cables into the dragon's body. The mechanical systems flared to life, bright and sudden. For a moment, everything was light and energy. Then darkness again. It had not worked. 32 seconds, Marcus adjusted the frequency. Tried again. Another pulse of power. Another flash of light. The mechanical heart shuddered, trying to beat but failed. The biological systems remained offline. 25 seconds. The corruptors were fully active now, burning with malevolent purpose. Alarm screamed in Marcus's helmet. Radiation levels were spiking. The dragon's body was becoming unstable. If those weapons detonated, they would take out everything within 10,000 kilometers. The rusted promise, the watching ships, everything. Marcus refused to think about that. He focused on the problem. The mechanical systems were starting. That was good, but they were not connecting with the biological systems. There was a gap. A missing link, 17 seconds. He looked at his own suit. At the life support system keeping him alive. It was biological monitoring technology, designed to read human vital signs and adjust oxygen flow accordingly. What if he could use it as a bridge? Connect his own biorhythms to Torvash's systems? Give them a pattern to follow? It was stupid. It would probably kill him. But he was out of time and options. 11 seconds. Marcus ripped the medical sensor from his own chest and pressed it against the dragon's mechanical heart. Then he grabbed the power cables with both hands, making himself part of the circuit. Electricity slammed through his body. Every muscle seized. He could not breathe. Could not think. There was only pain and light and the desperate hope that this would work. 6 seconds. His heart beat once. The electrical pulse from his own biology traveled through the sensor, through the mechanical systems into Torvash's still body. A pattern, a rhythm, a reminder of how to live. 3 seconds. Marcus's vision went black at the edges. He was dying, but he held on. One more heartbeat. One more pulse of electricity. 1 second. Torvash's mechanical heart contracted. Then again, the nanotechnology blazed with activity, spreading the signal throughout the dragon's massive body. Biological systems came online in a cascade. Blood began to flow. Cells started to metabolize. The great chest expanded with breath. 0. The dragon's eyes opened, blazing with light. Marcus felt the present slam back into his mind, confused and disoriented but alive. Alive. The timer had reached 0, but it did not matter. They had done it. Marcus let go of the cables and drifted backward. Every part of his body hurt. His heart was beating strangely. His suit was screaming warnings about his vital signs. But Torvash was alive. Then the corruptors exploded, not with the massive detonation they were designed for. Torvash's reboot had disrupted their connection to his body, but they still had enough power to hurt. Black energy rippled outward from the wounds. The dragon screamed. The sound transmitted directly into Marcus's mind, nearly breaking him. But something else was happening too. The reboot had changed things. When Torvash's systems came back online, they came back clean, uncorrupted. The nanotechnology was fighting back now, attacking the corruptor infection like white blood cells attacking a disease. Marcus watched in amazement as the corruption began to retreat. The gray scales turned crystal clear again. The evil red light in the wounds flickered and dimmed. The corruptors were still lodged in Torvash's body, but they were no longer winning. They were dying. Marcus? Captain Riviera's voice crackled in his helmet. What just happened? The sensors went crazy. Is the dragon alive? Yes, Marcus gasped. He felt like he had been hit by a truck. It worked. He's alive. And the weapons? Marcus examined the wounds. The corruptors were still dangerous, but they were dormant now, confused. The reboot had broken their connection to Torvash's biology. I can remove them now. They are just metal and circuits, no longer part of him. It took another hour, but Marcus was right. The corruptors came out easily now, like pulling splinters from skin. Each one he threw into space, sending them tumbling into the red giant star where they would burn, where they could never hurt anyone again. When the last weapon was gone, Torvash's presence in Marcus's mind was strong and clear and full of wonder. You did it. You brought me back from death. How? Stubbornness, Marcus said. And a little bit of stupidity. Maybe a lot of stupidity. I feel different, stronger. The corruption is gone. How is this possible? When I shut you down and restarted you, it was like wiping a computer and reinstalling the operating system. The corruptors could not adapt fast enough. Your body remembered how to be healthy and went back to that. You speak of me like I am a machine. Everything is a machine, Marcus said with a tired smile. Some machines are just more beautiful than others. A new transmission came through. It was the Kresh science vessel. Human mechanic, we must speak with you. What you have done is theoretically impossible. Then I guess I did not know any better, Marcus replied. The Viralth should not be alive. The corruptors were designed by the greatest minds of the old wars. Nothing should be able to remove them. They were over-engineered, Marcus said simply. Too complicated. Whoever made them assumed perfection would protect them. But perfection is brittle. It does not adapt. I just found the weak point and pushed. There was a long silence from the Kresh ship. Then, you are either very wise or very lucky. Can I be both? Another transmission. this time from the Talon collective warship. Their commander appeared on Marcus's suit display. The alien looked like a bird covered in metal feathers. Human, you have violated galactic security protocols. The Viralth are classified as catastrophic threats. This creature must be destroyed. Before Marcus could answer, Torvaish's voice filled every communication channel in the area. Every ship heard it. The dragon's telepathy was immensely powerful now that he was healthy. I am Torvaish Calvrin, last chronicler of the Viralth. I am no weapon. I am no threat. I am a keeper of memory, a guardian of truth, and I've been hunted and tortured for 10,000 years by those who fear what I remember. You lie, the Talon commander said. The Viralth were weapons of war. Our records show this. Your records were written by those who won the war, Torvaish replied. Let me show you the truth. And suddenly every ship, every person in range was flooded with memories. True memories, not words or images that could be faked, but direct experience. They saw the old wars as they really happened. Saw the Viralth serving as teachers and historians. Saw powerful governments growing afraid of the truth. Saw those governments create lies, start conflicts, turn the galaxy against the dragons. They saw the real weapons, the real monsters, and they were not the Viralth. The transmission ended. For a long moment, nobody spoke. Nobody moved. The truth hung in space between them, impossible to deny. Finally, the Kresh spoke. Their voice was shaken. Our archives were incomplete, edited, we did not know. Many did not know, Torvaish said gently. That is why memory must be preserved. Why truth must be told even when it is difficult. More transmissions came in. Ships from different species, all asking the same question. Were there more Viralth? Other survivors? Yes, Torvaish said, and Marcus felt the dragon's joy like sunrise. I can feel them now. The reboot has restored my full telepathic range. They are out there hiding, afraid but alive. We are not extinct. We endure. Marcus floated in the darkness, watching as the watching ships began to change their positions. They were no longer circling like predators. They were forming an honor guard. Protection for the dragon who had suffered so much. His suit alarm beeped. Oxygen was at 5%. His heart was still beating irregularly from the electrical shock. His body wanted to shut down, but he had never felt more satisfied in his life. You should return to your ship, Torvaish said gently. You have done more than enough, Marcus Chen. Marcus woke up in the medical bay of a ship he did not recognize. The ceiling was too clean, too white, the rusted promise held together with hope and welding. Not this pristine perfection. He tried to sit up and immediately regretted it. Every muscle in his body screamed in protest. Easy, said a voice. A medical robot rolled over, its many arms checking displays. You suffered severe electrical trauma, oxygen deprivation, and exhaustion. You should not move for at least another day. Where am I? Marcus's throat felt like sandpaper. The Kresh medical vessel, Bright Waters. You have been unconscious for 2 days. The dragon insisted we provide the best care available. Torvaish? Marcus said quickly, trying to sit up again despite the pain. Is he okay? The Viralth is more than okay. He and 17 others of his kind are currently establishing a sanctuary in this sector. They have declared this area a memorial site for their fallen people. Marcus relaxed back against the bed. 17 dragons. Torvaish had found his family. The thought made him smile despite the pain. A door opened and Captain Riviera walked in. She looked tired but happy. When she saw Marcus was awake, she grinned. There he is, the man who broke the galaxy. I did not break anything, Marcus protested. I fixed something. Same thing when you are talking about 10,000-year-old secrets. She pulled up a chair and sat down. You have been busy while unconscious. There are 12 different species requesting interviews. The Galactic Council wants to give you a medal. 3 universities want to study how you performed the procedure, and the Merchant Guild has offered you enough money to buy a small moon. What did you tell them? I told them you were busy sleeping and they would have to wait. She pulled out a data pad. But Marcus, you need to see this. The truth about the Viralth has spread across the galaxy. People are angry. Governments that lied are facing protests. The whole history of the old wars is being rewritten. Is that good or bad? The captain shrugged. Both. Change is always messy, but it is necessary change. The Viralth are no longer hunted. That alone is worth the chaos. Marcus thought about that. About how one act of helping had rippled outward, changing everything. What about the assassins? The ones who gave Torvaish those wounds? Ah, Captain Riviera's expression turned grim. About that. They showed up 3 days ago. 6 warships. Mercenaries hired by something called the Coalition of Remembrance. Marcus felt cold. What happened? Well, they demanded Torvesh surrender. Said they would destroy him and everyone protecting him if he refused. They were very confident. Very well armed. She paused. They did not account for 18 very angry dragons. What did the dragons do? Nothing violent. Torvesh kept his word about that. No, they did something much more effective. They broadcasted the complete memory records of every species that hired the mercenaries. Every lie. Every crime. Every secret those governments wanted hidden. Sent it to every news network, every public database, every communication channel in the galaxy. Marcus whistled softly. That must have caused problems. Problems is putting it mildly. 3 governments have already fallen. 5 more are facing investigations. The mercenary fleet surrendered without firing a shot. Their commander, a Kresh named Thasira, actually asked for asylum from Torvesh. Said she would rather be judged by a dragon than by her own people for what she almost did. And Torvesh granted it? He did. Said revenge would not bring back the dead. That mercy was harder than violence, but more important. Captain Riviera shook her head. Your dragon friend is something special, Marcus. He is not mine, Marcus said. He is his own person. He would disagree with that. He has been asking about you constantly, driving the medical staff crazy with telepathic check-ins. She stood up. I will let him know you are awake. But first you need to eat something. Chen made his special soup. The robot will bring it. After she left, Marcus lay in the clean bed and thought about everything that had happened. A week ago, he had been a simple mechanic on a salvage ship. Now he had changed galactic history. It felt unreal. The door opened again. This time it was not the captain. A holographic projector rolled in and activated. Torvesh's face appeared, scaled down to fit the room but still impressive. Those nebula eyes looked at Marcus with warmth and gratitude. Hello, my friend, the dragon said. Hello, Torvesh. I hear you have been busy. No more busy than you. How do you feel? Like I was hit by a spaceship, but alive. Marcus smiled. I heard you found others. Other Viralth. Yes, thanks to you I found my people again. We are together for the first time in millennia. Marcus, you cannot imagine what this means. To not be alone anymore. To hear other voices like mine. To share memories and hope in the future. I am happy for you, Marcus said, and meant it. There is something I must tell you. Torvesh's holographic form shifted, showing what might have been nervousness. The other Viralth wish to meet you. They want to thank the human who saved one of us, who showed the galaxy what we truly are. You do not have to thank me. I just helped. Just helped, Torvesh repeated with amusement. You killed me and brought me back to life. You removed weapons that the greatest minds of the old wars said were impossible to remove. You gave hope to a species that had none. Marcus Chen, you did not just help. You performed a miracle. It was not a miracle. It was just mechanical work. To you, perhaps. To us, to the galaxy, it was more. The dragon paused. The Galactic Council has offered you a position. Chief Technical Advisor for Lost Technologies. They want you to study old war artifacts, find ways to heal the damage from that time. Marcus was quiet. It was an incredible offer. Important work. But he thought about the rusted promise with its rattling engines and broken coffee maker. About Chen's terrible jokes and the captain's firm kindness. About the satisfaction of fixing things that everyone else said were beyond repair. That is very generous, he said finally. But I think I will stay where I am. On a salvage ship? Torvesh sounded surprised. It is my home. My crew is my family. And there is always something that needs fixing. Marcus smiled. Besides, the captain still needs her coffee maker repaired. The dragon laughed, that sound like singing stars. You are unique among all the species I have known, Marcus Chen. Given the chance for glory and power, you choose coffee makers and friendship. Is that bad? It is perfect. It is why you could save me when no one else could. You do not think about what you can gain. You think about what you can fix. Torvesh's image became more serious. But Marcus, you should know. The galaxy has changed because of what you did. Humans were barely known before. Now everyone is talking about you, about your species. They call you the mechanics, the ones who repair what others abandon. I am just one person. Yes, but you have shown what one person can do. Other humans will follow your example. Your species will become known for compassion and problem solving, for seeing the person instead of the classification, For trying when others give up. Marcus had not thought about it that way, about how his actions might change how people saw humanity. It was a heavy responsibility. What will you do now? He asked the dragon. Now that you are free and your people are together, we will rebuild, create a new archive of memory. But this time we will not hide the truth. We will share it freely so no one forgets what happens when fear rules instead of understanding. Torvaesh paused. And I will visit my friend Marcus Chen regularly. Make sure he is eating properly and not working too hard. Someone must look after the mechanic who saved a dragon. I do not need looking after. Too bad. You are stuck with me now. That is what happens when you save someone's life. They become family. After the hologram faded, Marcus lay back and thought about family, about the crew of the Rusted Promise, about a dragon who had suffered for centuries but still chose mercy, about a galaxy that was slowly learning to question old lies and embrace new truths. The medical robot brought him Chen's soup. It tasted like home. 3 weeks later, Marcus stood in the cargo bay of the Rusted Promise working on a new project. The captain had asked him to repair the secondary oxygen recycler. It was a simple job. Routine. Exactly what he liked. Outside the ship, space was no longer empty. The Viralth Sanctuary had attracted visitors, scientists wanting to learn from the dragons, diplomats negotiating new treaties, tourists hoping to see the creatures from legend. The red giant star that had seemed so dead was now the center of activity and hope. Torvaesh visited often, sometimes in person, sometimes through telepathy. The dragon would share stories from the old wars or ask about human history. In return, Marcus taught him about Earth, about oceans and mountains and small blue flowers that grew in impossible places. One day, a young Viralth named Siresh came to the ship. She was barely 1,000 years old, still learning to control her telepathic abilities. She watched Marcus work with fascination. "Can you teach me?" she asked shyly. "About fixing things." Marcus looked up from the recycler and smiled. "Sure, hand me that wrench," and so it began. The dragon and the mechanic working side by side. She was clumsy at first, her massive claws struggling with small tools. But she learned. And she told other young Viralth who came to learn as well. Captain Riviera watched from the doorway one day, shaking her head in amazement. "We are running a technical school for baby dragons now. This is not what I expected when I hired a mechanic." "Is it a problem?" Marcus asked.